On February 6, 1911, Ronald Reagan was born in Tampico, Illinois, to Nell and John Reagan. He attended high school in nearby Dixon and then worked his way through Eureka College. He studied economics and sociology, played on the football team, and acted in school plays.
Are you mystified, bewildered, and puzzled? You needn't be. All these shenanigans take place in a hilarious new Hollywood movie called Bedtime for Bonzo, starring Ronald Reagan, Diana Lynn, and Bonzo, that amazing chimp.
A screen test in 1937 won him a contract in Hollywood. Over the next 2 decades, Reagan appeared in over 53 films. He became involved in disputes over the issue of communism in the film industry. His political views then shifted from liberal to conservative. Shortly after, he toured the country as a television host and a spokesman for conservatism.
The Republican Party was so impressed with his political views and charisma that they elected him for governor of California. He holds the distinction of being the only California governor to ever become president of the United States. He was the 33rd governor of California from 1967 to 1975. On January 20th, 1981, Ronald Reagan took office. Dealing skillfully with Congress, Reagan obtained legislation to stimulate economic growth, curb inflation, increase employment, and strengthen national defense. He started upon a course of cutting taxes and government expenditures, refusing to deviate from it when the strengthening of defense forces led to a large deficit.
Only 69 days later, he was shot by a would-be assassin, but quickly recovered and returned to duty. His grace and wit during the dangerous incident caused his popularity to soar.
We're in the house of Ronald Reagan.
You know, Ronald Reagan said Ronald Reagan was a president of strength. Ronald Reagan used to say those are the things that Ronald Reagan taught us.
Big ideas like Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, President Reagan, Ronald Reagan,
Ronald Reagan,
President Reagan, Ronald Reagan.
Reaganomics rested heavily upon supply-side economics. This theory held that if people paid fewer taxes, they would save more money. Banks could then loan that money to businesses, which could invest the money in resources to improve productivity. As a result, Congress lowered income taxes by 25% over a 3-year period.
Driving now is a plan and a hope for the long term. The march of freedom and democracy, which will leave Marxism, Leninism on the ash heap of history as it has left other tyrannies which stifle the freedom and muzzle the self-expression of the people.
The Evil Empire was a speech given by Reagan in 1982. He publicly described the USSR as an evil empire and supported anti-communist movements worldwide. He negotiated with Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev, resulting in the INF Treaty and the decrease of both countries' nuclear arsenals.
An important event during the Reagan era was the Challenger disaster in 1986, one of the most tragic events Reagan dealt with as president. The space shuttle, the Challenger, took off and just 73 seconds later broke apart, killing the 7 astronauts on board. Reagan publicly addressed the nation in regards to the disaster.
And I want to say something to the school children of America who were watching the live coverage of the shuttle's takeoff. I know it's hard to understand, but sometimes painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave.
The Iran-Contra affair was a product of 2 of Reagan's initiatives. During his administration, he made a commitment to aid the Contras who were conducting a guerrilla war against Nicaragua. Secondly, he wanted to release the hostages held by pro-Iranian groups in Lebanon, which would influence Iranian foreign policy in pro-Western direction. Something you might not know about Ronald Reagan is that he became the oldest president elected when he took office as the 40th president of the United States. He served 2 terms as president from 1981 to 1989. Reagan made over 50 films between 1937 and 1961. He was the first Hollywood actor to be elected president. He was the 8th president to be the victim of an assassination attempt, and he was the only president to survive a wound. He appointed the first woman to Supreme Court, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. When he was re-elected president in 1984, he carried 49 states.
On June 5, 2004, Ronald Reagan died of 10 years of Alzheimer's disease. On June 9th, Reagan's body was flown to Washington, D.C., where he became the 10th United States president to lie in state.
We've done our part, and as I walk off into the city streets, a final word to the men and women of the Reagan Revolution, the men and women across America who for 8 years did the work that brought America back. My friends, we did it. We weren't just marking time. We made a difference. We made the city stronger. We made the city freer. And we left her in good hands. All in all, not bad. Not bad at all.